Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we are looking at a very special watch, the Tudor Prince Oysterdate Submariner, reference number 94110. Now this is a very special watch considering that it marked a time in history where Tudor was moving away from the Mercedes hands found in its bigger brother Rolex and kind of etching out its own identity by using the Snowflake hands. Now, first and foremost, I want to give a huge shout out to my brother-in-law, Jeff, who let me borrow the watch for the video. So thank you very much, Jeff. Okay, so in April of 1980, Jeff buys the watch and he wears it as a tool watch everywhere for a long time. Now, I remember as a kid thinking that the watch looked cool. It was bright and blue and shiny and all things that I like, but it wasn't until this one pivotal moment that it really kind of etched a memory in my brain that I could not get out. And here I am 46 years later, and I'm telling the story. So let's get into it. So as I said, Jeff buys the watch and he wears it a ton. For years, he runs it through its paces. He goes camping with it. He catches wildlife, and I mean like alligators and snakes, all sorts of things. He works hard and he even raises a family and he runs his own pool business. Then one day he buys another watch and he donates this one to my dad. Together they wore it for a combined 23 years. And eventually my dad returns it to my brother-in-law. So in 2003, Jeff decides to get it fixed and he sends it off to a place in Zurich, Switzerland called Beyer Chronometrie, dating back to 1760. Now, while the watch was there, it was issued a new era-appropriate service-style bracelet and crown. Now, here's a couple of things that I thought were interesting. If you look down at the 6 o'clock position, you're going to see a T-Swiss T marking. This was Tudor's way of designating the use of tritium in their dials. This would last for like 25 years without having to charge those indices. It would always be bright. However, after the 25 years, they would create this like patina, which some love. It would have like this coffee stained look in them, and you can actually see those in modern day homages on AliExpress, or I'm sure other places where they will dye the indices this light brown color, as you can see here. Now in 1998 they moved away from the use of tritium. However, if you look at the watch, it still says T-Swiss T. This was because they used extra stock of dials that still said T-Swiss T. They didn't want to toss them out, so they just used them and painted them with the luminous material, the modern day, super LumiNova that we see today. So this is part of the story where I kind of revisit that aha moment I mentioned earlier. When the watch came back and I finally got to see it, Jeff showed me the watch. It looked immaculate. It looked like a new watch. And when I held it up in the light and I saw that top hat crystal, it left an impression in me, like for many years, until I started kind of appreciating watches, and that memory stuck in my brain for the watch that I would buy. It would have to have a sapphire crystal, and it would have to be a sapphire crystal that kind of jettisoned above the bezel. Well, I bought the Spinnaker Piccard. I kind of overcompensated. However, the irony of it all was that the sapphire crystal on the Submariner was not really sapphire. It was acrylic. And, I had a good laugh on that. It really surprised me that the inspiration was on something that wasn't even sapphire at all. Now, in summary, here are my thoughts. 23 years from the date it was restored, and the watch has been used as a tool all over again, receiving new scratches and new stories to serve Jeff, really. And it's kind of run its full circle moment. It's a 46-year-old watch, and the scratches really tell a great story. So when you look at the Tudor Submariner up close, you see engineering from a different era. You see it in the jingle of the hollow endlings and the simplicity of the stamped glass. These were features that really were never meant to be luxury. They were just functional. You see it in the iconic Rolex signed case back, scarred with scratches, again, that tell a great story of many years between multiple people. Every design cue here, the snowflake hands, the cyclops, the highly legible dial, it was all born from a need for pure utility. It's a design so honest that it becomes a legend. But looking at it now, I don't actually see a status symbol or a technical marvel. I see a watch that was used exactly as intended. Honestly, whether it's a high-end vintage piece like this or a modern value proposition that you just can't help but smile, the truth is the same for both. The best watches aren't really the ones that stay in a safe. They're the ones that stay on the wrist long enough to tell a great story. And this to me was a great story. Thanks for watching, and if you like the content, please like and subscribe. Till the next one, peace.